Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the singing of the national anthem by Sergeant Golding and the invocation by Chaplain Jerome Hinson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rugged red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Go! Right shoulder, hump!
All right, go ahead, stand by lectern mic. Is the lectern mic hot?
Let us pray. Almighty God, as we gather in this civic ceremony to give thanks for the outstanding support rendered to the dedicated citizen service members who comprise our National Guard and Reserve, well, Lord, it warms this Missourian's heart who used to pastor a church on Walnut Street in Springfield to see a fine company from over on South Scenic Avenue, Benjamin Franklin Plumbing, among the honorees. Thank you, Lord, for them and for all these fine folks who are being recognized today. They found a way to animate their souls by embracing a great cause, nothing less than the security of our nation and the free world. But such great causes have and always will require sacrifices, O Lord. From the unrelenting, diligent duty required by hours of monthly training to the urgency of a sudden emergent contingency. These honorees have found creative and caring ways to support those to whom we look in the hour of our need and who sacrifice so much at the altar of freedom. May all of us be inspired by their example. May our nation ever be worthy of such devotion. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. we have as our Master of Ceremonies an award-winning journalist who is currently a news anchor and reporter at ABC 7 in Washington, D.C. He is a friend to the military, having started the Welcome Home Project, a group that works to recognize and thank returning Purple Heart recipients. He has also served as an adjunct professor at the United States Army War College for nearly 10 years, supporting the Department of Distance Education during the second-year resident course. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Jonathan Elias.
Wow, this looks like a lively bunch here. How's everybody? Really? That's as good as you can do? Come on now. How's everybody doing? Just so you know, I do like a rowdy audience. Hecklers, I'll think about it, but I like rowdy. And we're here for a great cause today. Thank you all very much for being here. And it is an honor for me to be here for the 21st Annual Secretary of Defense Employer Support Freedom Award Ceremony. Now, there's something that, I mean, given the backdrop of where we're having this conversation today, this is like singing to the choir, but I work in an industry where every day we deal with folks, they go on their merry way, they get up in the morning and they go get their double shot of soy latte espresso, gluten-free. But the operative word in that long sentence of what they're drinking is they are free to do that. And I think a lot of folks in this room understand the price of freedom, and it's a heavy price. For them, they take for granted that freedom. And freedom is something that has cost us dearly, as we know. Men and women who are brave enough to put on the uniform every day and give of themselves and travel to wherever they're told to go and defend that freedom, or do it right here at home, it's the support around them. It's their family. It is their employers. And so I think it's great. When they asked me to come do this, I said, that's fantastic. When you have employers that stand above and beyond everybody else, when they recognize not only the sacrifices that are being made of the service people that actually work with them, but they do things above and beyond to make sure that their families are taken care of, they're taken care of. So it's great that we have this award to give out today. So to all of them, a quick round of applause for all the employees because they're here. I'm still getting used to the whole Pentagon thing because at the War College, it's all colonels, and you walk around the halls here and everybody's got stars on, so you got to be on your best behavior. Otherwise, I mean, even while I'm anchoring in D.C., if I screw up, I could be in Des Moines like tomorrow, you know, So 44 years now, the employer support of the Guard and Reserve, which is better known than the ESGR, and we know how the military loves their acronyms. We would be lost without them. It just speeds up conversation. And we get mad at our kids now because they're on the computer with their emojis and their LOLs. You guys started it. Hello? So now it has actually fostered a culture in which all employees support the value of employment and military service with our members and our National Guard Reserve. And in fact, this year's Freedom Award program received, and this is pretty cool, 2,424 nominations for those companies that have gone above and beyond. Obviously, we have 15, so we had a lot to choose from, and we picked some pretty good ones, but it's nice to see those kinds of numbers. And the employers here today, as I've said, they've gone way above and beyond. And wait till you hear some of the things that they have done to make sure that the service members are well taken care of, and so are their families. Now, we obviously call this the Secretary of Defense Freedom Award, so we have the Secretary of Defense with us, and we'll bring him up in just a second to help with the awards, because that would be silly if we had the award and we didn't have him. But what I'd like to do right now is, since we're recognizing reserve members, we're recognizing National Guard members, if all of them would please stand right now so that we can give them the recognition they deserve. I think the hardest thing about a reserve or a National Guard, and I think regular military, full military can understand this, they have two hats they wear. You know, in 1 minute they could be riding around in Afghanistan and Kandahar, they could be in Iraq, and they could be dealing with all kinds of crazy issues, life and death. And the next minute, they're shifting gears back to first, wondering, okay, did I pick up the dry cleaning? Oh gosh, I got to get to my job and my boss is in a bad mood. That's amazing to have that kind of double hat, the duality of that kind of job. That takes not only commitment, but it takes this juggling act, this balancing act, that so many of the ones that I've met, they just do such a great job with it. So again, many thanks to you, and that's why we're here for you today as well. The other thing we want to do is, in the room, as you know, there's kind of some mucky mucks out here. We've got some pretty powerful folks. So we also are joined by several previous Employer Support Freedom Award recipients. So if you would please stand real quick so we can give you the recognition you deserve as well. Please stand. Thank you very much. Again, 15 people, 15 representatives of companies are here, employers are here today to get their awards, and we'll tell you each and every one of their stories. And again, as I said, since it's the Secretary of Defense Freedom Award, you got you a pretty good seat down there, Secretary. It's kind of nice how that works, isn't it? I'd like to bring up and introduce you to the Secretary of Defense, Ash Carter.
Well, listen, thanks very much, Jonathan, for being here, for spending your time here, and you obviously get it. You get why we're here, what this occasion is about. So also does the chaplain, and I appreciate that invocation rendered in that distinctive Missouri accent. And to Paul, his wife, thank you. And everybody in this organization. It's great to be with you. All leaders here from the employer support of the Guard and Reserve, our Guard members and reservists, their families, friends, previous award recipients, DoD personnel, past and present, and our special guest, Lee Greenwood. Thank you all for joining us. I'm glad to see so many Guard and Reserve members here, and just repeat what Jonathan already said. We thank you for what you're doing for our country. More on that in general in a moment. And I know many of their families and employers are here as well. And to each of you, family members, employers, also we're grateful for what you do for our Guard and our Reserve, our members and the mission that they perform for our country. For more than 40 years, in fact, ESGR, yes, that is the acronym, Jonathan, has encouraged and worked with employers around the country to strengthen their support for their employees who serve in the Guard and Reserve, and our entire country's the stronger for it. We see that in the awesome performance of our Guard and Reserve, especially, particularly over the last 15 years. We see it in the more than 4,500 ESGR volunteers nationwide who donate their time to this important cause and to ensuring that our Guardsmen and Reservists not only retain their current jobs, but find new ones. We've seen it in Louisiana just over the last 2 weeks, where over 3,500 Guardsmen have been responding to unprecedented flooding, helping rescue thousands of people, providing meals, bottles of water, cots, blankets, tarps, sandbags, more. And we see it in this ceremony when our community gathers again to present this Employer Support Freedom Award, which is the highest recognition given by the U.S. government to civilian employers for their support of our Guard and Reserve members and their families. And today we award no fewer than 15 truly deserving employers. These 15 are helping make DoD and our country stronger, but for a moment, I want to focus on another number, the more than 2,400 nominations submitted by Guardsmen and Reservists who felt that their employer deserved recognition for all they do to support the Guard and Reserve. Think about what those 2,400 nominations mean. They reflect the breadth and the depth of what our nation's employers, large or small, public, private, recognized or not, do for our Guard and Reserve members, and therefore for the mission of the Guard and Reserve. Those nominations represent all the bosses, all the supervisors across America who go the extra mile to help their employees serve the country. The coworkers who are getting the backs of their colleagues and their families as they serve. The HR departments that are making their organization a more attractive place to work for citizen soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. Because also they know that hiring and taking good care of and retaining these Americans is not only the patriotic thing to do, but it's a smart thing to do for their businesses because of the tremendous ability of the people who make ours the finest fighting force the world has ever known. And we have many of these service members here today. Each of you and your colleagues across the country and around the world have my thanks. You help keep our most solemn commitment as a military, which is to provide for our fellow citizens the security they need to live their lives, to dream their dreams, to give their children a better future, even if that means sometimes having to put your own lives on hold or even at risk. Many of you have responded when we needed you most, perhaps never more so than over the last 15 years. Indeed, since 9/11, more than 770,000 of our Guard and Reserve personnel deployed to the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, sometimes, many times, more than once. As their service in both those countries demonstrates, the Guard and Reserves are a critical component of our total force, a vital operational reserve that brings to bear the experience and skills of our citizen warriors wherever and whenever they're needed to confront the challenges of a complex world. And a complex world it is. And today, our nation, our great nation, with its global responsibilities, its global opportunities, and global interests, have no fewer than 5 immediate, major, evolving challenges. First, countering the prospect of Russian aggression and coercion, especially in Europe. Managing historic change in the vital Asia-Pacific region where half of humanity lives and half of the economic activity of the world resides. Where China is rising, which is fine, but behaving aggressively, which is not. Strengthening our deterrent and defense forces in the face of North Korea's nuclear and missile provocations. Checking Iranian aggression and malign influence in the Gulf. And confronting terrorism, including especially accelerating the certain defeat of ISIL in its parent tumor in Iraq and Syria and everywhere around the world to which it metastasizes. And as history has shown, we also have to be flexible and agile in preparing to contend with whatever comes in the future. The future is uncertain. We can't anticipate everything we may need to do. We need to keep our game up. Soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines of our Guard and Reserve are right now helping ensure we meet those challenges. But as the nominations for this award demonstrate, they don't have to do it alone. After all, their families serve too. That's something today's honored employers and employees know very well. And thanks to their employers and many more across the country, Guard and Reserve members have been able to count on additional care and support for their families, particularly when they're on duty or on deployment. That's important because personal families, and as these awardees will demonstrate, our service members' work families too, are the foundation of our force. Thanks to employers like the ones we're recognizing today, our Guardsmen and Reservists can have the flexibility and the training they need to accomplish their mission. They're able to have the time off before and after deployment, and they have a job to go back to when they come home. Some of our employers, especially the 15 we honor today, go above and beyond that level of support. One, for example, shipped 2,000 pounds of household goods for their reservist employee. Just did it. Another employer heard that his National Guard employee, who had already been deployed for 8 months, would need to be out for 6 more months to heal from a deployment injury. And so he offered to pay the Guardsman's college expenses. And one other employer got really creative. This is workplace flexibility taken to a high level. He joined his employees in a warrior yoga sessions, but with a serious purpose, which was to help people who were returning from deployment, who were having some stress, and this was an important way for them to relieve it. So these are just a few examples of all the awardees have done for our men and women in uniform. And you don't have to take my word for it. One guardsman, when nominating an employer we're honoring today, said that the company he works for set the standard that all companies should abide by. That's why we're giving out each of these awards today, because these organizations are leading, setting the standard for employer support to our Guard and Reserve. That leadership also helps bring the country together. We live at a time when less than 1% of our population serves in uniform, which means fewer people are connected to those who do. So we need to keep building bridges to our fellow citizens and communities who aren't as connected to those who serve and sacrifice on their behalf as they once were. Our Guard and Reserve and their employers, especially our awardees, build those bridges every day. So on behalf of the entire country, men and women of the Department of Defense, I thank you all for doing so. And I congratulate today's awardees. Today, more than ever, the commitment they've shown to our country and to those who serve our country is indispensable. To meet the challenges and opportunities we face as a nation and as a Department of Defense, we need each of you, all our Guard and Reserve, all our families, all our employers. Thank you, each of you, and congratulations to our awardees. These things are really heavy. You're going to curl and
You can stand wherever you want, I'm just saying. Real quick, I want to share a quick story with you that dovetails exactly, and this is aimed right at all the employers, all the bosses in the room who took a second and thought to themselves, what can I do to make the life of somebody in service better? Part of my program that I set up with the Purple Hearts was to recognize warriors that were coming home, that their bodies may have been bruised, beaten up, or broken, but their spirits were 100% intact, and that spirit is what is infectious. And a 23-year-old Navy corpsman, I'll never forget it, the first ceremony that we had, I only expected maybe 40, 50 people showed up, 200 people, 300 people showed up, and we gave him these baskets, and we shook their hand, gave him a hug to thank him for service. That's all the intent was. And he was shaking and crying, and I gave him a big hug, and he said in my ear, he goes, why are you doing this? And the only thing that could come out of my head, and I'm usually a smart ass, all I said was, somebody has to. And what's nice about this award ceremony is lots of somebodies are doing these kinds of things. That's what you're all here for today. So again, congratulations to you for all the efforts and the thought that you put into taking care of the service members who are both here and a lot of times deployed many times over. So with that said, let's get to it. First presentation is going to be small business. And the first group is, we honor today as a small business category. Deployments of a military member can often be felt more significantly by the smaller organizations. We all know that. Even so, the following companies here with us today have gone above and beyond in their support of our service members. And so the small employer recipients for 2016 go this way. We'll start with Benjamin Franklin Plumbing, nominated by Navy Reserve Petty Officer First Class Carl Phillips. Benjamin Franklin Plumbing seeks out National Guardsmen and reservists despite knowing that they will sometimes be absent to meet military requirements, and they'll be gone for quite some time. In addition to providing differential pay for deployed service members, the company sends care packages to the troops and also to their families to let them know that they're thinking about them. In keeping with its commitment to their military employees, Benjamin Franklin Plumbing also ensures that all of its supervisors are trained on the requirements of the Uniformed Services Employment and Re-Employment Rights Act, which is also known, again, here we go with another acronym, as USERRA. Accepting on behalf of Benjamin Franklin Plumbing, and this award is not light, a big round of applause for Mr. Frank Elston, the President. All right. Next one, the Buford Corporation, nominated by Army National Guard First Lieutenant Kent Turner. Lieutenant Turner received calls and emails from his supervisor that the company and CEO are performing military service. Burford hosts several events throughout the year where military members are recognized and thanked for their service. Burford values military members frequently attending military-only job fairs and highlighting the achievements of its military employees on flyers posted throughout the company. And accepting on behalf of the Burford Corporation is Mr. Fred Springer, President and CEO. Now the problem you're going to have is finding a place for that big old eagle. I wonder if maybe somebody's going to take one of these ornaments and put it right on their car, like the hood ornament, or get a big old necklace and just hang it around. That's me. I'm one of the award winners. How about you? Step up. All right. Delmarva Veterans Builders, nominated by Air Force Reserve Technical Sergeant Daniel Mills. Delmarva Veteran Builders value the strong skill sets, loyalty, and dedication among those who serve. And a quarter of the company's workforce currently serves in the Guard or Reserve. Owned by a Navy veteran, and the Air Force, Army, and Marines in the group, they're not going to hold that against them. The company pays its military employees up to 12 months of full pay while on military duty. Also includes full 401k retirement contributions. Company President Christopher Eccleston recognizes the unique needs of his employees participating in warrior yoga and also addresses PTSD and other service-related issues. Accepting on behalf of Delmarva Veteran Builders is Mr. Christopher Eccleston, the President. That yoga thing is no joke, man. I saw some Navy SEALs doing it. That's the one group you're probably not going to make fun of, doing some sort of down dog. That's just not going to happen. I mean, you can do it, but like a buddy of mine told me, you can do everything once in life, and so there you go. Fast Signs International Incorporated, nominated by Air Force Reserve Staff Sergeant Stephen McKenzie. Fast Signs support started before Sergeant McKenzie even left the States in the form of emails, phone calls, cards, and texts of support. It continued throughout his absence with care packages he got every 4 weeks. The company created a photo album with messages of support and sent a copy both to him and to his family while he was deployed. His family received calls, texts, birthday cards, all during that time. Upon his return, he was surprised with a banner that was signed by corporate staff, a shadow box from his coworkers, and surprises from the CEO, Catherine Munson. Accepting on behalf of Fast Signs International, Ms. Catherine Munson, the CEO. Did you see that part? I said they put up a banner for him. It is Fast Signs after all, I mean. Just saying. Birthday cake would have been a harder one for him to pull off, or something. All right, Hope Valley Industries, nominated by Air National Guard Senior Airman Edward Murata. Hope Valley Industries provided a monetary bonus prior to Airman Murata's departure and hosted a coming home party in his honor to recognize his deployment and service to our country. After he was injured during deployment, Hope Valley Industries helped develop a recovery plan. Professional development was a part of that plan, and company paid for his books, tuition, giving him the opportunity to rise in the organization. That is fantastic. Accepting on behalf of Hope Valley Industries is Mr. Tom Malucci, the CEO. The Eagle, by the way, weighs 45 pounds. Secretary Carter will do 15 pull-ups with that thing, or curls. Again, another round of applause. That was small business. Think about what that takes. You know what I bet we could do? We could probably get these CEOs to give you $1,000 a curl with that eagle, and we could give it to some charity. We could do this, you know. We could raise some money in the process. I'm always thinking that's how it works. All right, next one. We're going to large business now. In the large business organization, guardsmen and reserves often make up only a small percentage of the workforce when you look at how many people are in their company. But even so, the large employers we recognize today have found innovative ways to individually support their service member employees and highlight their contributions in the process. Start with Alaska Airlines, for instance. Nominated by Air Force Reserve Major Caleb Haley, Alaska Airlines, this is kind of cool. You ready for this one? The resource group reaches out to newly hired Guard and Reserve employees to assist them in transitioning from military to civilian life. Not an easy transition, but they do it. And the company has set a goal to raise its military hires to 10% or greater by 2020, as well as to raise its advancement rates for military employees. The airline's leadership established a military apprenticeship program to help expose transitioning veterans to hiring managers. Alaska Airlines supported a reserve employee who was moving at his own expense. Anybody moved recently? This is the military. That's a stupid question. It's not cheap. But 2,000 pounds of his household goods, they shipped it for free from Anchorage, Alaska to Portland, Oregon, which that would have cost about $4 million. So accepting on behalf of Alaska Airlines is Marilyn Romano, the Regional Vice President for Alaska Air. Next one, and I have a bone to pick with these folks. Do you pump something into the oxygen when I walk into Lowe's? It's kind of the Costco effect. I go in for a tray to paint, and I walk out with $150 worth of tools. What is going on there? Is it Lowe's, nominated by Navy Reserve Lieutenant David Nelson. Founded by 2 Army veterans, Lowe's has long been a military supporter. Between 2005 and 2015, the company donated and shipped more than 4,500 pounds of tools to deployed military units, along with thousands of care packages. Lowe's contributed $25,000 to help bring more than 100 members of the South Carolina National Guard's 122nd Engineer Company for the holidays prior to their deployment. And when the mother of a fallen Marine came into Lowe's to buy flags to display in her home as friends and family visited to pay their last respects, the store manager stepped up and donated every flag she had in her hand and in a cart, and ceremonially folding and presenting them another flag to the grieving mother. Accepting on behalf of Lowe's is Mr. Robert Niblock, Chairman and President and CEO of Lowe's. Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, nominated by Navy Reserve Lieutenant Commander Christopher Wozniak. Goodyear offers pay differential, continued medical benefits, and life insurance for up to 2 years of active duty and 20 days of training. The company supports the ESGR mission by advocating organizational and community support for the Guard Reserve members. Goodyear, by the way, hired 1,000 Guard, Reserve, and veteran employees from 2011 to 2014, did that in 3 years, and renewed the commitment in 2015. The company's Goodyear Gives Back campaign has now raised more than $800,000 in donations to support to our troops just since 2010. Accepting on behalf of Goodyear is Mr. Stephen McClellan, the President. Those are the large companies. Now we're going to go to the public sector presentations. This year, 7 public sector honorees fight fires, teach our children, enforce the law, and they treat us when we're sick. And those just their day jobs. Our public sector honorees are also dedicated to supporting their Guard and Reserve employees, just like the big and small companies we've just highlighted here. Let's start with the Albuquerque Police Department, nominated by Air National Guard First Lieutenant Philip Block. The Albuquerque Police Department grants 52 days of paid military leave to Guard and Reserve employees called to active duty and differential pay for periods that extend beyond that. The department also pays the employer's share of health insurance for up to 60 months of deployment. They also created the first ever guaranteed interview system for veterans, guardsmen, reservists who meet the minimum qualifications. The department also recognizes National Guard and Reserve service as an alternate to college credits for cadet eligibility. Accepting on behalf of the Albuquerque Police Department is Chief Gordon Eden. Tell me how. He's going to go back to Albuquerque and put that eagle on his desk and go, yeah, come on in here, check out my eagle. Look at that. I was at the Pentagon, right? And then he's going to have to do scheduling again, like he always does. Next one is Carolina's healthcare system, nominated by Air National Guard Lieutenant Colonel Sylvia Ray. The organization's workforce is currently about 4% Guard, Reserve, or veterans. They have set the goal to increase that total to 7%. Now, the Carolinas healthcare system requires all new leaders and supervisors to receive USERRA training. We just talked about that earlier. And the organization celebrated its 75th year of service with 75,000 cards that they sent out to troops in campaign, and also sponsored an annual Veterans Day breakfast for teammates, their families, and the families of those deployed. Accepting on behalf of the Carolinas healthcare system is Mr. John Jaffe, the president. Next up, the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office, nominated by Army National Guard First Sergeant John here we go. Zagava, is he here? Okay, I'm gonna try it, ready? Zagava. Ding, 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 ding. I'm gonna have a good day. Sheriff Craig Roberts spearheaded the change to the Oregon Constitution, resulting in differential pay for the guardsmen and reservists who are called to active duty. He also worked with the Clackamas County Commission to pass a resolution allowing families of deployed employees to remain on their employer's health plan. The organization assists deployed service members' families with yard work, home repairs. Sheriff Roberts has personally delivered Christmas presents to those same families. Accepting on behalf of the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office is Sheriff Craig Roberts. Notice the 3 stars. He fits right in. The Idaho State Police, nominated by Army National Guard Sergeant Sarah Brecken. After Sergeant Brecken suffered a concussion during active duty training, she was unable to work full-time and released by medical providers. But her supervisor attended military medical boards, worked with the medical personnel who allow her progressive return to work. The organization provided cognitively acceptable work at home or in prescribed work environment for a set period of time, contributing directly to her successful therapy and to her recovery. Accepting on behalf of the Idaho State Police is Colonel Ralph Powell. Got an Idaho fan club here? Where was that rowdiness earlier when I was calling for it? So you're taking the tour of the Pentagon, right? So can we get the bird off his shoulder and put some stars? Just get like 4 or 5. They got those somewhere. Somebody in here can handle that, I think. Next up, and these guys are fun because I just dealt with them on the Silver Spring explosion, and it was pretty funny because everything was getting sideways, and sometimes in the media, you know, we're frowned upon. Imagine that. And this guy from the Maryland State Police walked over, and the problem was solved that fast. They're an awesome bunch. I'm forever a fan. So the Maryland State Police, nominated by Army First Sergeant, Reserve First Sergeant Greg Harrington. 15% of the department's ranks are filled with guardsmen and reservists, plus 28% of the current academy class. Think of those numbers. The Maryland State Police offers a wide range of initiatives to recruit from the military population, including pay differential for both police officers and support staff. The department promises ESGR's values and engages with organizations to help them build more robust support programs for their guardsmen and their reservists. Accepting on behalf of the Maryland State Police is Colonel William Pelosi. Next up, Prairie Grove Consolidated School District 46. That must be a pain on the business card. That just goes on and on. Number 46, they were nominated by Marine Corps Reserve Lieutenant Colonel Patricia Klopp. The district made 2.5 years of full contributions to Colonel Klopp's retirement system fund while she was on military orders. Prairie Grove granted her an extra 2 weeks of paid leave before she deployed to help her take care of some personal affairs and her family's needs. The school district also supports the Marine Corps Reserve's Toys for Tots drive each year with donations given in Colonel Klopp's honor. Accepting on behalf of the Prairie Grove Consolidated School District 46 is Dr. Philip Bender, Superintendent. And that's a smart man. He wore sneakers at the Pentagon. It's 5 miles if you walk this entire building, man. That's hard on your heels. Good for him. Seattle Fire Department, nominated by Navy Reserve Commander Chris Carter. While the department offers pay differential and 256 hours of paid military leave each year, it excels in its personal care for guardsmen and reservists. When the son of a Seattle firefighter was killed in action, the department provided immediate time off and assigned 2 firefighters to full-time duty supporting and assisting that family. The organization also staffs job fairs with Guard and Reserve employees to help it recruit from the military demographic. Accepting on behalf of the Seattle Fire Department is Chief Harold Scoggins. Now, a big round of applause for all the small business, large business, and the community service groups that have been awarded today. That was 15 awards we handed out. That was 15 curls that he did with that big eagle. Good job. A big round of applause to all of them. We do need a group photo, so if all of those people who are the recipients of this year's award could please come up on stage. We're going to take a couple of group photos with the secretary. So when they're all assembled, don't tell them, okay? Shh. This is where you go crazy, get really wild, okay? Let them know it's Friday, you're all excited, and plus you're happy for everything they've done. You ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, my pleasure. Secretary, thanks. If you got a second, we'll do an interview.
Some experience at Lowe's.
Thank you all very much. I'm not alone. Kindred spirits with the secretary. He has the same problem at Lowe's. But I love tools. That's the problem. They sell these oversized chests. You got to fill them, right? Come on. All right. Did you want to make a final comment? I do. Okay. All right. Good enough. All right. So before we go, we have a treat for you. When I was backstage, let me double check. Lee Greenwood. All right. Good enough. Just every now and again, you know, I go off prompter and I lose my mind. You got it, Secretary. So when I was in Alabama back in 1989 as a young reporter, I just remember the names like Lee Greenwood. That was huge, you know. And then all of a sudden, his song went completely crazy. God bless America, God bless the USA. And then you hear it all the time. So when I'm backstage in the green, when I walk in, there's Lee Greenwood. I'm like, it's Lee Greenwood. The cool part is he looked at me and said, "Don't worry, kid, I'm the closer. I got this thing covered." So I think he turned 42 today, so give him a happy birthday round of applause. So, thank you very much. See you right after his song.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. Play the first track and make my mic hot. Thank you. This is a song we opened up in Afghanistan. It comes from Aaron Tippin, who's a friend of mine in Nashville. It talks about American pride, and we've sang it for several years. He sings my song, I sing his. When you ask me where I come from, here's what I tell everyone. I was born by God's dear grace in this extraordinary place where the stars and stripes and the eagle fly. All right, yeah. It's a big old land with countless dreams. Happiness ain't out of reach. Hard work pays off the way it should. I've seen enough to know we got it good. Where the stars and stripes and the eagle fly. There's a lady that stands in a harbor for what we believe. And there's a land that still echoes the price it costs to be free. I pledge allegiance to the flag. If that bothers you, well, it's too bad. 'Cause if you got pride and you're proud to do, oh, we need some more like me and you. Where the stars and stripes and the eagle fly. Yeah, I fly like an eagle here in America. Oh, the land of the free. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. There's a lady that stands in a harbor for what we believe. And there's a bell that still echoes the price it costs to be free. It ain't the only place on earth, but it's the only place that I prefer. Oh, to love my wife and raise my kids the same way that my daddy did. Where the stars and stripes, yeah, and the eagle fly. Where the stars and stripes and the eagle fly. Where the stars and stripes and the eagle fly, here in America, home of the free, land of the brave, because of the brave. Thank you very much, and privileged to be here at the Pentagon. I never thought I'd be performing here. This is pretty cool. One thing I'd point out right away, I'm not bound by the dress code. But that's kind of cool. Thank you for our signer, and you're doing a great job. So a little quick background about myself. I'm from California, born in Los Angeles, raised in Sacramento, California on a farm. Most people think that I'm from Nashville. And so although I live there, I live outside of Nashville in a little small community called Franklin. I spent more years in the state of Nevada than I did in California because I went there right out of high school and performed and wrote music and played in all the large venues for almost 20 years before my country music career took me east to Nashville. Everybody was going west, I went east, so sometimes against the grain works. My father joined the Navy right after the bombing of Pearl Harbor in 1941, and I was born in 1942, so now you know how old I am. Unfortunately, war has a terrible burden on married families, and my mother and father divorced after I was about 2 years old. I did not know my father till I was 14 or 15. Repatriated with him, and we got to be friends. I was raised by a stepfather named Louis D'Antonoli, and his two brothers, Salvatore and Pasquale, became my uncles and my father, and through the rest of my life. And now they're all gone, but I remember those days when we used to talk about growing up and what it meant to have a solid family life. We talk about the National Guard and the Reserve and what important part they play for us. And I'll skip to the present. After moving to Nashville, we started our international USO tours. My first USO tour out of high school was to Alaska. That was before it was a state, and they wouldn't allow me to come to Elmendorf Air Force Base without a girl in the act. And so I hired a Hawaiian dancer. I just happened to meet someone and said, come on, you know. And so my tenure for the USO, Department of Defense, started then. Since then, there have been 30 USO tours, many of them flown by the National Guard of different states, mostly in Tennessee. Give credit to the states that have flown me, not only Tennessee, but West Virginia, Minnesota, and Alaska. And those National Guard units have flown us on many times. As a matter of fact, when the Alaska National Guard picked up and flew us the last 2 weeks, we ended up in Hawaii. They had to fly all the way home with the landing gear down. They couldn't get the landing gear up, so, you know, they go through tremendous hardships many times. I was on Bob Hope's tour. The last tour in 1988, flew around the world, 8 shows in 8 days. Our first show was in the Philippines with 10,000 troops in the stadium at midnight. And Bob Hope introduced me. The Navy Orchestra we had picked up in Hawaii was playing. And as he walked past me, the soldiers were cheering because I had just written my anthem, God Bless the USA, 2 years before. And he walked past me and said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Lee Greenwood, Mr. Hope. I'll be with you the next 8 days." We hadn't even met yet, you know, and we're on 2 C-141s. It was pretty interesting. So we toured an awful lot the first 3-4 years out of Nashville as an artist. Toured with Reba McEntire, George Strait, the Oak Ridge Boys, and Barbara Mandrell. We had interesting careers, all different, but we all were pursuing the same goal, to be famous as we possibly could. There were a lot of awards that came along early on, but I recognized, working with the tag out of Nashville, that was General Wallace, who was a 2-star of the National Guard, that the military commitment continued in civilian life, even as a guardsman and a reservist, not just the active military. I didn't get a chance to serve in the military, so my way of serving was to do our DoD USO tours, and now I work with many groups that support wounded warriors. One of them out of Houston, Texas, we build homes for wounded warriors. We built 100 homes in 7 years in 22 states, and we'll continue to do that at about 2 a month. It's called helpingahero.org. If you go, you can look that up on your computer. So, I'll cut to the chase at this point. I wrote God Bless USA in 1983 while I'm touring in my bus about 300 days a year. It wasn't necessarily penned as a song to become an umbrella for my career, although it sort of has, and it wasn't my intention with me having 17 #1 country songs all about life itself, living life, and from a country point of view. I have a Tennessee wife. Kim and I have been married 24 years. We have two wonderful sons, 21 and 18. Dalton was valedictorian of his high school. He's at Washington University. It's for his senior year. He checks in tomorrow. He's studying biochemistry, and he'll get his PhD at Stanford. So I'm excited about him doing scientific research. Our other son is 18-year-old, is a high school student. Last year he was the lead in Les Mis at his play. He will be a theater major. No, please. You know, so my wife always said the apple didn't fall from the tree. I was never an actor, singer, musician. I started working when I was age of 12 years old, and it seems like now we have to finance them to work. I don't understand that, you know. Lots of lessons. My wife is brilliant. She was Miss Tennessee, and she's a pageant director now, and has for the last 16 years worked for Donald Trump, who owned Miss Universe and co-owners with NBC. Fortunately, he sold out of that, so we don't have to deal with that mess that's currently on the agenda for who will be president next. So God Bless the USA is represented in my career as the most important thing I've ever done. I don't think so, but it has brought me to places like this and the White House, 4 aircraft carriers, 4 different jets in the air. I shot a tank at Barstow, I shot out of a tank in Barstow. I didn't shoot a tank, okay. But traveling with the military in different places is always a thrill for me, and there's a lot of general officers in here. Of course, Secretary of Defense, sir, great to be here with you. And of course, those who support the employers who support the military are a very special part of what we do, and that is to find out who they are. You'd be amazed, and sometimes maybe not connected with the entire culture, to find out how many people really care. When it's this kind of meeting and you see 2,400 businesses that have been nominated for their help to get veterans and guardsmen working while they're in the military, it's a thrill. So it's a thrill for me also to be able to sing for you my anthem. I will tell you one more thing, and that is recognition sometimes comes in lumps and sometimes not at all. In Nashville, I shop at a place called Publix. And when I go into the store, many times I take a list from my wife because I don't want to go back home and forget something. So I always have the list. So I was walking near the counter, and I had this list last week, and there was an elderly couple down at the end, and they had just finished their grocery shopping, and she was swiping her credit card, and she looked over at someone, and you know the look. You know, I knew she recognized me, and she elbows her husband like this, and he looks over and gives a nod of approval. And so as I'm getting, the things are running to the belt, closer to the cashier, I'm starting moving this way. She can't help herself, and she grabs the arm of the cashier. She says, "Do you know who that is?" And the girl is about 32. She says, "I have no clue." She says, "That's Ray Stevens." Feel like Rodney Dangerfield, you know, no respect. But on all seriousness, when people do recognize me, they generally talk about God Bless the USA, or Proud to be an American, if you will, because that's the chorus line. And the title of our children's illustrated book that we released last year. Teaching our kids early to read and to learn about the sacrifice of the military for our country, I think, is an important issue. Even though I never served in the military, I recognize that fact. I talk about it all the time. American Airlines has a flight to New York, direct, and I usually sit on the left-hand side of the plane, so that when it makes its bank into LaGuardia, I can look down and see Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty, where I performed 3 times during the 4th of July celebrations in the past 30 years. I want to remember that moment, that when, after 2001, Mayor Giuliani asked me to come to New York and sing at the Fireman's Memorial at Yankee Stadium. I did that. It was a tearjerker, with Bette Midler singing Wind Beneath My Wings and Mark Anthony sing America. Also, I went back for the Policeman's Memorial at Carnegie Hall. That was also a tearjerker. We went back to New York Stock Exchange for almost 7 years, meeting kids who were orphans from people that were killed in the trade towers by this new threat we call terror. Terror is not new, but this new strike is on America. We haven't ever had something happen on our soil. Sucker punched for the 2nd time, Pearl Harbor, and then 2001 in New York. And then right here in this building, they ran a plane in to try to stop what America does in this building, and that's protect this country and the rest of the world. So with pride, I will sing for you the song that has become America's most recognizable anthem, this humble kid from farmland in Sacramento, California, is really walking in high cotton. Here is God Bless the USA. Yeah, yeah. If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Yeah, yeah. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining seas, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
That's good stuff, wasn't it? You can be seated. Can't believe I'm at the Pentagon saying that. You can be seated. A couple things for some house cleaning news. I apologize if I offended anybody who drinks a double soy cappuccino gluten-free latte. My bad. Nothing wrong with the drink. It's probably a dandy. Sorry. Also, I just want to make sure everybody's clear on where you can see me every night, because I need to pay my bills. I have 2 kids in college, and if you haven't paid college lately, because you have the GI Bill, what the hell do you care? I'm still kind of getting my gait back. The walk's a little weird. Boston University, that was a pinch. So it's ABC 7 News at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then at 10 o'clock on News Channel 8. Make sure you write that down and watch it religiously, please. That'll be a big help to me. Because I know you got nothing else to do but sit around and watch TV all day. So anyway, thank you very much. It's been an honor for me to be here and host this. To all the employees, and with all sincerity, to the employers out there, this is on C-SPAN, so hopefully we're going to rattle some cages. The efforts that you've made, the thought that you've put into taking care of our reservists and our National Guardsmen, I'd love to see that become contagious, where greed doesn't seem to be the overriding factor. Yes, we all want to make money, no question about it, but you can also take time to help somebody out. My old man was military, made the great Santini look like a sissy, and he said something to me when I was a kid. Well, he said a lot of things to me when I was a kid, but with 3 boys, 1 or 2 came back to haunt me later. But, you know, he said, in this life you can make friends, you can make money, but if you don't make the difference in someone else's life, then you really haven't lived. So for the employers who are here today, you clearly have made a difference in a lot of people's lives. That's meaningful. That makes a huge difference. That gets you this big old eagle, but it gets you, more importantly, the recognition of some very brave men and women. So another round of applause to all the employers who are recipients. So now I'm supposed to ask you to stand again because the official party is going to exit, which I'm kind of bummed about, Secretary. I was going to get a couple selfies with you and put it on Facebook and stuff. You want to do that? Should we do that? All right, let me grab my phone. Hang on one second. Everybody just, the fall of Rome, talk amongst yourself. What happened there? What went wrong? You got that figured out?
I think so.
All right.
I hope I'm hitting.
If it's blurred, I'm going to slug you, I swear. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. You did not. Take it again. Hold on. You got to push this button down there. Okay, so you touch the screen and focus. We'll get it right here.
The red one, right?
The one at the bottom, the round one. You got it?
I think so. It's not an iPhone. What can I say?
Does anybody know how to work a Samsung? Come on up. Come on up. You touch the screen. Hold on one second.
I got it.
There we go. What did we come up with? Was it greed? Was it incompetence from the Senate? What happened to the Romans? For anybody? No, I'm just kidding. That's kind of cool, man. Secretary of Defense. That's all right. I guess we all have to stand now so that the party's going to leave. Who's in the party? Do you guys want to say hi? Thank you again, Secretary. You may be seated. He bumped into somebody. I would have had you sit sooner, but he had bumped into somebody. What's that? The Army Field Band was playing before. A little round of applause for them as well. They sounded fantastic. To all of the employers, fantastic job. Great work. Thank you for coming today. To all of the men and women in uniform who sacrificed so much and your families right alongside you, thank you as well. It is 11:22. It's a Friday afternoon, and we are done. Enjoy yourselves. Have a great week and be safe, and thank you again.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the 21st Annual Secretary of Defense Employer Support Freedom Awards ceremony. Please join us for a reception outside the auditorium.